Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to another episode of our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a special one at Elite Zoo North. We're going to finally get a project done that we've been waiting on for a very long time. So let's dive on in. It is year number 100 of the zoo. So the zoo has gotten pretty old. A lot of people who saw it when it first opened are probably no longer alive in this, game world, so to speak. But folks, before we get into all that, just want to mention, as always, if you've been enjoying this series, you know exactly what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below, especially if you'd like to see Planet Zoo continue on this channel, as it's quite clear many of you do. It's always great to see the likes and comments. As I've said before, I look at those numbers to get a quick read on what people want to see more or less of on the channel. And on top of that, I do enjoy reading through all of the comments. And I do read through all the comments, even if you're watching this episode, months after it's been released and you're kind of trailing behind, comment away. I read them all. And I enjoy reading them all. I enjoy looking at your feedback, your thoughts, your opinions. It really does. It's a big part of having a channel for me. It's a big deal to me. So keep them coming, folks, is what I'm getting at. But yeah, it is July, the year 100 of this zoo, and the zoo has seen a lot. It is really wild to see our expansion and to see how we've expanded. I remember when we were going to start our India section, we I was like, yeah, I'll do a little bit of India, and then we'll do I'm in the middle of something here. Thank you, game. It's like, oh yeah, I'll do a little bit of India and a little bit of Africa and a bit more of India and a bit more of Africa. That didn't happen. That clearly didn't happen. We got to get to work on our Africa section soon, folks. And on that note, actually, I saw, whoa, camera going wild over here. I saw many of you say that you would really like to see the leopard area completed after we do our memorial. And so that is what I will endeavor to do. I will look to complete our leopard monastery section. Maybe we'll get to it this session. Really depends on how long it takes me to build the memorial, sorry, just dropped a couple of letters there. It kind of depends on that, but if there's time to also work on this today, I definitely will, but we'll see. But before we get into that, there's a couple of things that I need to take care of. First of all, and I apologize for this, but I missed a couple of requests for names being put in that I should not have missed. It's just because I missed a couple of messages and comments, and they were well in place before I recorded the last episode, so I feel bad about that. So I'm just going to get these couple of names in, and I hope you all don't mind. It's well, I shouldn't say a couple is two. These few names in, because it's just it's just 3 names. Quick cut. We'll bring it back. All right, folks. So let's welcome to the named staff section, I suppose. April Simsbrarian over here. We also have Lacey Weddell, and we've got ourselves as well Paisley Payton. Now, I apologize again if I butchered any of those pronunciations, but please do not hesitate to correct me in the comments down below. Now, folks, one more thing to mention is that you guys clearly liked the idea of sponsoring animals. I saw a lot of positive reception to the idea of sponsoring animals. That is something I'm going to get going as of next month. I'll do it in the first session next month because I don't want to bog things down too much. At the beginning of every month, like 4 episodes of doing that, I'm sure it's too much, or at least I feel like it might be. I've seen some people not like it as much, so I'm gonna do that next month. We're gonna start next month. But yeah, so sponsorships are open for animals. If you'd like to have your name attached to any particular animal, again, if you are a channel member or patron, feel free to let me know. You know how to do that, and if you don't, then I will do a reminder next month, the first session of next month, and then we can get that going. I think it's a really cool idea, so thank you very much for the suggestion. It's a really cool idea. I like it. I'd love to have my name plastered at the local zoo to say, like, oh yeah, this guy helped support this animal. I think it's pretty neat. All right, so there's a couple of things that I want to do just at the start of this session that doesn't involve the memorial. A couple of little details here and there that many of you pointed out in the comments. We're going to go ahead and hit play. I got to keep an eye, obviously, on the date and stuff. Make sure that the year 100 doesn't slip by us. But a couple of things that I wanted to do involve, for one, again, there were some neat ideas that were proposed. It was suggested that, we're not getting power in here? I thought we put a solar panel, right? What? How are you? Are you serious? I literally, like by millimeters, I put it a little too far in one side. Oh, that's That's a joke. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I guess what we got to do is we got to go ahead and extend the path a little bit over here. What are the chances, eh? What are the chances? Can we not... There we go. Perfect. So now it's got coverage. I was like, wait a second. After all that effort. Perfect, and you're the right animal as well. Okay, so one of the suggestions was actually to go ahead and do... I guess it's not called a torch. If we go to lights over here, and we go to the Norska theme, or Norska, wow, the Norse theme or the Arctic theme, mixing up my my Total Wars and my Planet Zoos. Get the Arctic wall light. There we go. Oh yeah, this is something special. There we go. Let's get another one over here, maybe. Time really flies, eh? It's already September. Jeez. Dangerous animals escaped. Hold on a second. What is this? How'd you get out there? How'd you get out there? Are you serious? They can just jump over these? And now they're going as pairs, too. That's hilarious. So I made these climb-proof, but I guess they're still not tall enough. Wow. Okay. Boxed them both in, though. 3 meters, I thought it said. Oh, that's just too short. There we go. Fenrir's about to have some offspring. Wonderful. Gonna raise you up as well. All right. Yikes! I did not foresee that. Dangerous animal escaped. Oh, you're still out there. Okay, I was wondering where you got to. Camouflage working real well there. Camouflage working real well. Low welfare over here. What's wrong? Habitat, temperature issues. Okay. I guess it's too cold out there. If we take a look at temperature. Oh man, I guess if you're in the middle of the water, can the heat not reach? But come on now, give me the heater. And put you down over here. Put you down over here, actually. That should warm this area up. We're warming this area up. It doesn't actually show if the heat is reaching the water, which is a little unfortunate. Wish we would just make it crystal clear. That will hopefully solve the problem there. Alright, so we'll keep an eye on that, but the lanterns, or not the lanterns, but the torches was one thing. I think that looks absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I was going to add a few more of these. Right, and get another one over here perhaps. Like so. There we go, so it kind of lights your path on the way in. Get a couple more of these maybe. Ooh, I could spend forever doing this. I thought this was gonna be quick. I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's get a couple of these down. But now I'm like, okay, I might want to actually build a whole network of like, you know, support beams and stuff like these platforms need to get support anyway. So I might build the support into torches and build a real. Oh my god, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. Also, I'm going to move this over to the side here. And we're going to move you over to the side as well. Because, as it was correctly pointed out, this really kind of blocks the view. And we just saw a keeper come through over here to vacuum up some poop. So we know that they are able to use the stairs as well. Great. That was my one concern. That was my one major concern. Okay, so we've got the speaker over here. The speaker's fine. All right, we're good. If the board is out of the way, I think we're fine. In fact, I could get a second one as well. The second one down over here. There. 2 sources of education. Well, 3 including the speakers. So yeah, these torches are looking fantastic. Great call over there. Though actually, sorry, being in there reminds me, I also need to edit the barrier over here and make sure it's one-way glass because our leopards are shy. And I mean, besides that as well, it's probably a good idea just to make this one-way glass. Did I say two-way glass? I keep saying two-way glass. Glass, one-way glass. There we go. Make sure it is facing the right way. There we go. So you can see out, but you can't see in. All right, great, fantastic. So that'll be good. It'll. Oh, look at the colors. It'll hopefully be a lot better for the snow leopards when they get up there. And I believe, let's just do a quick double check here. Okay, they're not able to escape. and they are in fact able to, yes, climb up over here. I can confirm they've got the platforms in blue. That means they can reach it, and this green hatching lines. The green line work implies they're able to climb. So we should be fine there as well. So that's all taken care of. We've got the viewing spot taken care of. We've got the torches put down. Some of them, I'm definitely going to put more torches down. But I also need to build a bit of a path connection, a staff path connection over here, to make sure that our staff is able to get up over to the platform area to clean the space up, and we need to get our mechanics up here as well to make sure the mechanics are able to, repair the trains or the solar panel if they start having any issues. But folks, I think a lot of that stuff is actually going to happen later, after the time lapse. It's December 4th, the year 100 of the zoo. It's time to finally do something that I've been waiting for a very long time to do. It's a momentous occasion for a momentous thing. I will say right now, I've got many of the names, thanks to, again, y'all in the comments for keeping a track of it. I've got many of the names that need to be implemented into the memorial, but I am definitely missing some. So if you've got some that you see I miss while we build this, let me know, and we'll correct this. I'm going to build this hopefully in a modular fashion. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's begin. All right, folks, this is an extremely long time lapse, and so you can expect me to be quiet at certain points in time. I cannot ramble for the length of this time lapse with something valuable to say for every moment of it, which is not something I can say very often about myself. But yeah, I just a heads up that every once in a while I'll probably go quiet and the music will play, and then I might come back in and out depending on if there's anything interesting to say. So we start with our centerpiece, and I've been mulling over this for a very long time. I've been I guess procrastinate is the word that we often use, but I'm gonna go with the word ideate. I've been ideating for a very long time. I've been thinking about how we want to execute this extremely important part of our zoo. For one, turns out we want to execute it when it's kind of dark, which is why I'm using the light. I apologize for the darkness. I thought it was a lot brighter than it actually was. For two, we're going to be using a lot of references. You're going to see a lot of pauses, especially in the first half of this time lapse. You're going to see me moving somewhat slowly for the first half of this time lapse because I am looking up a lot of reference images. I'm looking up wildlife photography of wolves from all angles. I'm not sure if you can tell what I'm building here just yet, but hopefully it becomes pretty evident soon enough. Yeah, you can see me right now trying to figure out, like, how does this part work? What happens? But to remove the mystery a little bit, I'm building out of these rock pieces. With a great deal of struggle and with, I don't know, maybe some degree of success, I'm building a wolf that is laying down. And let me tell you, these pieces were not made for this purpose. These pieces were not made for this purpose, but I mean, I struggled through it. I will say I'm very pleased with the end result. Partway through the time lapse, I was just kind of like staring at my screen going, wow, maybe I should call it here. And I guess I was never going to be satisfied. But no, I end up satisfied. Also, currently the sculpture looks like a dude with a tiny head, and his butt just looks extremely funny. He's like crawling on the sand. That's all I see is a person crawling on the sand. Or laying on the sand, but it's not supposed to be a person. It's supposed to be a wolf. As you can see, wasn't going very well. And this is just the first part of our memorial building. We're like, I had such a clear image in my head of how I was going to execute this, and it did not go to plan at all. And as you can see, like, it looks like a variety of things, but I don't think not once does it look like a wolf. Like, now it looks like a dude wearing wearing one of those witch doctor masks or whatever. Anyway, I wasn't very happy with this, and I couldn't find the right pieces for it. I kept trying to cycle through and kept adding to it and kept hoping for, you know, magic or for lightning to strike or something. And, you know, we, as we often do, going to hit the reset button very soon. And I'm glad we do, because I think our... like the core pieces that I started with here were just not the right ones, and I kept adding to a mistake and just piling on to a faulty foundation. And I think this is me right now reconsidering my my decisions here. Nope, it's me doubling down. It's me going, nah, I'll figure this out. What am I missing? Oh, I know, I'm missing the ridge of the nose. Oh, is this me now reconsidering it? Anyways, I spent some time on this, but I thought this would be a really cool sculpture. I mean, that is what it is. It'd be a really cool sculpture. Again, it reflects the effort we're willing to put into this structure. That was a big thing for me. Is like I wanted it to be a structure that required a lot of effort. Because, you know, money is not really a thing, I guess. It's a video game. What can we actually, as players, you know, spend? What we can spend is time. Time and effort, right? And so that's what I wanted to, that was the currency here. It's like I wanted it to be something that would take time to make, that would take effort to make, that would cause me to stress out every, you know, handful of minutes. And hey, mission accomplished on all those factors. I will say really quickly, I apologize if this episode has ended up releasing a little late. This recording took a lot longer than expected, and so here we are, potentially releasing a little late. And I apologize to those of you that didn't get notified because you don't follow me on Twitter. And I understand not everybody has Twitter, but if you do have Twitter, you can follow me. The link is in the description down below. I often post, you know, updates to schedules, plans for things that are coming up, all that kind of stuff, and other more, you know, kind of personal life stuff as well. So if you're interested in that, plus memes, then you can follow me on Twitter. But yeah, so again, I apologize if this was a little late. Anyway, you can see here, I think I'm like, you can probably sense the struggle. Like, even if you were watching this on mute right now, you could probably see me questioning every decision. And here again, I keep like, oh, you know what the problem is? He's missing feet. I guess she's missing feet. She needs feet. Let's get some feet in there, because that'll help. That'll solve the problem. And feel free to make fun of this thing. I mean, it's bad. It's not good. Look at the head. It's so, oh my god. It looks closer to, you know, it doesn't look like anything. But it's okay. What we end up with, I am extremely happy with. Is this me now reconsidering it? I think so. I'm trying to put myself back in the head of Party Elite from approximately 3 or so hours ago. Yeah, that was me going, you know what, this ain't working. There it is. Yeah, I was like, all right, let's get you out of here. Start over. All right, we've got our base. That's the that part's fine. That's just where I want it to lay, basically, right? So whatever, it's fine. And then I believe I use a different body piece. Yes, I use a very different body piece that has the kind of like the curve of the back, and that I think immediately sets us on the right path. So I get that down, and then I start working on the neck portion. I want to get the head body section done first, because I know now how to execute the legs. I'm not worried about the legs. I've looked up plenty of reference images. I see. So there's a couple different ways wolves seem to, you know, lay down on the ground. One is, I guess, all legs pointing forward. I saw like one example of that, but what was most common is front legs pointing forward and back legs kind of like off to the side. And so, I mean, actually, funnily enough, it's very similar to how a rabbit loafs. They kind of like, they have their front paws facing forward, and their back legs are just off to the side. I guess that's a nice way to stretch for them or something. And from what I saw with all my reference images, that's what wolves seem to do a lot as well. So I want to maintain that. And I figured that out with our first iteration. So I'm fine with that, which is why I focus here on the body and the head first, because that was the struggle. And honestly, as I started this second iteration, I was like, oh man, I might have to throw this idea right out the window. And then we got the ears in, and I started to feel a little bit better. I was like, okay, getting there. Like our tiger wasn't done in a day, right? Like it took time. And I was like, all right, well, the ears really help the head. The head shape is a bit closer. So let's start working now on the front. Let's get those legs in. Now, many times the front legs, well, not many, a couple times the front legs would like crisscross. But that wasn't very common. And I also kind of liked it split apart a little bit. Kind of makes me think about the Sphinx. Anyway, so yeah, now you can see I'm trying to get that ridge back on the head, but I think I ultimately realized that level of detail is just not going to be possible. We've got we don't have the right rock shapes. Honestly, I was actually tempted for this time lapse to open up Blender, which is a 3D modeling software, and see if I can't actually import custom models into the game. I was very close, but I was like, no, let's try. But yeah, this is feeling a lot closer. With the ears, I think helped a lot. The updated body shape helps a lot, and I think maybe I just happened upon the right the right rock to use for the head. So as we kind of keep working on that, yeah, you can see I go up there and pull back those rear legs because I like how the rear legs turned out. I think I did a decent job of those. So I pull that back in, and now it's looking pretty good, right? I mean, I think so. Maybe that's me giving up and being like, this looks fine. But I genuinely think that looks good. I can recognize it. It might take me a minute if I didn't know what was going on here. It might take me a minute, but I recognize it as an animal. I recognize it as a canine animal, and I recognize that it's laying down. A wolf specifically, a little bit harder to identify in just its rock form, but pretty pleased with this. And then getting the tail in as well, just trying to make the tail work because I didn't know exactly how to execute it with the pieces I had that were all kind of too big. But yeah, there it is. There's our wolf rock. Get it? Because wolf rock. Anyway, I'm pleased with that, and I do put a light down, though I don't test it right now because I think if the game were to crash on me in the middle of this time lapse, I think I would just stop recording, and I didn't want to tempt fate, so I didn't test the lighting. We'll do that next session. But yeah, now it's time to try and figure out what this thing actually sits on. And while I do my first iteration here, which I do not like, so you're going to watch me build something which I promptly throw out because it ends up being too dark and dingy. I was using the Arctic wood pieces, and I was like, it'll work nicely with all the stuff we've got going on in the front. It matches the aesthetic, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately it ends up looking too dark, and it looks kind of dingy, and it just doesn't feel right. So while this first iteration is being built and modified a handful of times, I just want to say really quickly, 100 years. If this zoo was built today, like in 2020, 100 years is 1920. That means this zoo has seen World War II. It's seen countless wars. What I found most interesting is, so I was looking through old episodes, like important moments in old episodes, for the purpose of this time lapse, and there was one very interesting overlap that I thought was hilarious. Obviously we see the Great Depression, we see World War II, we see Vietnam, Korean War. There's if we go into that, there's way too much to talk about. But we also see a lot of independence struggles over the course of the existence of the zoo. And one funnily lined up in year 27. We built the India section. Now we started the India section before year 27, but we made a lot of progress on it in the year 27, and the year 27 would be 1947, which is the independence year of both India and Pakistan. So I thought that was funny. I was like, what are What are the chances that lines up? I was looking for more things like that, like, oh, did we happen to make I don't know, did we happen to make the Bengal tiger enclosure when Bangladesh got its independence? Nah, it didn't line up. So nothing else really lined up quite like that did, and I was like, oh, that's funny looking back at it. Apart from that, I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember noting anything else particularly wild down. But 100 years is it's a crazy thing to think about. Like, to celebrate a centennial is a wild thing. Like, for reference, Canada, as a nation, is only 150 something years old. That's wild, right? Our zoo is almost as old as this nation is, and it's older than many nations. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. 100 years, geez, it's hard to even understand. It's hard to comprehend. It's a good thing that our staff are immortal, I guess. They can kind of live through everything, it seems. But yeah, like I said earlier in this episode, I think people who came to our zoo when it first opened, when it only had 3 or 4 animals, and it wasn't that great. Those people are probably long gone, and their children's children are the one that are coming to the zoo now. In fact, their children's children are probably bringing their children to the zoo. Let me think. I think my grandmother's coming close to 100. No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to place like ages. I guess it would be kids' kids are bringing their kids in to the zoo now. Wild, absolutely wild. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the fact that we've reached a year 100. I think it's a big deal. Maybe I think it's a bigger deal than it actually is, but I think we can all agree that it's cool to hit a milestone like that. And beyond that, we've hit a lot of milestones very recently in the quick succession on with Planet Zoo, right? Like year 100, episode 50 just happened, a couple weeks ago. The channel hit 100K subscribers, in January. On which note, going on a bit of a tangent, I was lying when I said I'm going to be quiet for a bit. I can ramble for hours, man. On which note, I reached out to YouTube asking about the silver play button. They're looking into it, so hopefully that comes soon. Because when I started the channel, that was the unattainable goal. So I cannot wait to hang that silver play button like above my monitor or something. Really excited for that. But yeah, lots of milestones in this last little while. Anyway, back on topic. You can see I put down a lot of vegetation and stuff, and I thought, like, I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. Little did I know I was lying to myself, and you'll see why and how soon. So I put down all those fountains across the side because I wanted to get a little bit of water around our memorial, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's looking pretty. We'll cover up the exposed marble areas with stone. And then I was like, I really like how that marble looks. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more of that marble look to our Arctic wood pieces. And you'll see I struggle a little bit with getting the placement of these things just right. But ultimately, how many times did I do this dance? I need to be quicker at dismissing ideas. I think I often go far with with an idea and then end up wasting time. Nah, that's an unfair assessment. Who would have known that I wouldn't like what the Arctic would look like that? But anyway, this is where we get rid of it, and I go, you know what? I really prefer the classical look for something like a memorial, and so that's what I'm trying to build now. And again, this also goes through a couple permutations, but they're quick. They're like I do them right now, so to speak. Like I start with the cylindrical pillar, and I very quickly go, you know what? This isn't working, and I end up going with the square one. And I'm glad I do that because it definitely feels like a much more substantial building, and I feel like these cylindrical ones remind me too much of our gazebo that's over in Flamingo Park, and I don't want that. Anyway, I use the fountain. So again, the base there is the big fountain piece flipped upside down, and then I flip it right side up and stack them to make a bit of a roof piece, to create marble flooring and roofing. And you know what, it works, I guess. And for the longest time I was struggling with how to actually do this top section, and I ultimately go with this plinth or whatever it's called. And this is when I go, okay, the cylinders aren't working, let's get rid of those, and let's go ahead and bring in these, well, first I tried these ones, but I end up settling on the, you know what, maybe I should have gone with these ones. I might swap these out next session. I'm so indecisive. This is such an important build that I was, you know, I didn't want to disappoint myself or any of you. And so I kept second guessing every decision. And even now I'm second guessing every decision. So yeah, let me know, right, which decisions I should have third guessed, and which I did well to second guess, or which ones are perfectly fine as they are. I might make some tweaks still. This is going to be one of those never-ending projects. I can tell right now. It's going to be episode, you know, 60 million. We'll be on a different zoo in the franchise, and I'll come back and I'll be like, you know what? I just had an idea for this memorial. I'm just glad we're finally doing it. It's been a long time of talking about doing it. Anyway, as I build this ring around our central piece over here, I'm going to take just a moment, because I'm sure a bit of tranquility can go a long way. All right, so now it's time to add some additional elements, and this is where the this centerpiece really comes to life for me. This was the plan all along, but I didn't want to like show all my cards right away, or whatever you want to call it. So in my head, the story of this sculpture as a whole, right? Because the rock that you see is the wolf rock, as it were, is just a part of it. So we're adding this little fountain over here because I want to add special effects and stuff. We'll do that later, though. We don't do that this session. I want to add some special effects. But beyond that, I want to build, like I said, it's about a story, and the story here is the story of Nekedra. And the thing about Nekedra is that she was our. Now, I hope I haven't misremembered this, but we've been making a big deal about it since the beginning, so I can't imagine I misremembered this. But she was our first birth at the zoo, which is why her passing was, you know, extra special, and that's what triggered the whole conversation about the memorial. She was her first birth, and she spent her whole life here, and then she passed away. And so I wanted that story communicated in this sculpture. I didn't know exactly what shape it would take, but I knew what I wanted. I wanted to use the baby wolf, I wanted to use the adult wolf, and I want those to represent her arrival at the zoo as a baby, and then her life at the zoo, you know, as an adult, or as, you know, as a quote-unquote teenager, no, I guess adult, and then the stone monument is her like legacy at the zoo. So there's a tale here, and as I was like building this, I was like, oh, you know, what if it's like an actual trail to adulthood from her young life to her afterlife, I guess. And I really like how these. I thought I'd have to fiddle with the colors of these pieces a lot, but I really like how they look and feel. Like so for me, it's almost like those, because of the gradient and the coloration, they feel ghost-like, in the sense of they're from a different. They're a memory. They're they exist in passing. I'm having a hard time verbalizing because because I'm exhausted. But that's sort of what that coloration evoked in my head, and so I liked it as it was. I thought I'd have to change it, but I actually like it as it is. But yeah, so that's the story of the piece up top. Is it's the tale of again, Kedra's arrival and life and legacy. I don't know. I hope y'all like it. Maybe a little cheesy, but what can I say? I love cheese. A little bit of grilled cheese, a little bit of cheese on my pasta. What's pizza without cheese? You need a little bit of cheese every once in a while, right? Anyway, now comes something that, maybe I wish I hadn't thought to do. I'm using the New World light fixture piece. And I'm rotating it, and I'm hiding most of it in the wall. And I think by now it's already pretty evident what I'm doing with these pieces. I'm making my own letters. It's a memorial. The standard typeface that comes with the game does not fit the bill for a memorial, so I had to build my own. It was a struggle, not easy. Lots of little parts, lots of selecting and adjusting and moving. And the thing is, these letters are so fine and small that making fine adjustments was very difficult. And plus, as is always the case with my constructions, it seems like we weren't perfectly aligned to the grid. And so rotating and twisting and turning every few seconds was going to be a constant. But yeah, I was mulling over this. I know there were a couple of mods that introduce fonts and stuff, and again I was tempted to just load up see if I could actually mod in custom models of letters and whatnot, but ultimately went in with the New World. I forget what the piece is called, but it's the light decorative hanging. Wall hanging piece or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it works quite well, if you hide the right pieces. And the thing is, and you'll see, we do this in a bit, the thing is, you actually get quite a bit of flexibility as well in terms of font weight. So we've got our font sizes. You can see the is smaller than Nekedra is about to be. And then the word that we put underneath, we actually make it a lot thinner. But yeah, this gives us a lot of control over the typography. I was about to go really crazy with typography terms. And that was a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, it was like, oh wow, I can do so much. I can really customize this. And then on the other hand, it was, oh wow, I can do so much. I can really customize this. I found myself like critiquing, like, oh, the X heights don't match, or the curve here doesn't make sense based on the rest of the typeface, or oh, you know what, my the angles anyways, I was becoming way too obsessed with certain elements, and I had to stop it because it was getting in the way, and it was stressing me out. So blessing and a curse. Definitely, I would say more of a blessing than a curse, because especially when we get to the finished product of this, I don't know, what should I call it? Title, headpiece, inscription. I don't know. When we complete the lettering here, I think it looks quite nice. I know the R, adding a little swoosh to the end of it, because why not make it a little bit fancier? Just this was me honestly just experimenting with myself. Experimenting with the game's pieces, and seeing how far this idea and concept can be pushed. So here now, so how can we make the swoosh feel like it actually thins out? And you know what? Yeah, we kind of can. So that was cool. And thankfully, we'd already laid an A down, so I could just pull the other one and use that. Just have to fix a little error there. But here you go, the Nekedra. What word comes next? You'll find out in just a moment. But yeah, it's feeling pretty neat, and I'm glad, despite me quote unquote complaining about the difficulties of executing this. I'm quite glad that the option is even available. I'm glad to see that stuff like this is possible. It's kind of wild, really. I don't know if the pieces were ever intended to be used like this, but they can be, and that's what matters. Anyway, so here you can see we've got an extremely like thin version of the typeface. And you could, if you stack even more of these next to each other. I don't know why I've paused here. I think I just stepped away. I was getting exhausted. I think. Oh, this is when I'm tweeting the tweet I tweeted, a little bit ago. I think. Maybe that's what it looks like. Anyway, you can mess around with font weight, font height, the X heights, the kerning, everything. I mean, you're literally building the letters, so you can do whatever you want, and it's just so cool. Now, unfortunately, and maybe I could have found a better piece to use, but unfortunately, round shapes don't work really well. You can see the D in Nikedra and the R there as well. They're kind of okay, but when you get too small, you don't have enough. You can't rotate the pieces, and you can't iterate the rotations enough times. Like you'll see over here, I'm trying to say memorial, but each line is only so short, so the O feels a little clunky. Nothing I can do about it. It's fine, but that was the only struggle I had, the only I guess regret or whatever I had. But even then, it works. It works fine. Yeah. All right, there you have it. Also, hey, fun fact. I like to share fun facts whenever possible. A font is a specific version of a typeface. So a typeface is, for example, I don't know, Helvetica. A font is Helvetica Bold. And that's I don't know, it's just something that you start to get really picky about when it's something you, I guess, learn in university. So yeah, fonts and typefaces, two different things. I often say typeface rather than font because technically a lot of the time it's a typeface, not a font. What else? Fun fact, uppercase and lowercase are the result of when we had old printing presses and you had cases. You would have at the press you would have a case, and the uppercase would have all the capital letters, and the lowercase would have all the lowercase, the smaller letters. What word do we say if it's not uppercase or lowercase? So that's the thing. That's where uppercase and lowercase come from. What other fun typography facts can I share? Keyword being fun. Oh my god. Anyway, folks, the Nikedra Memorial. Hopefully I spelt all that correctly. By this point in time, I was many of the 7 dwarves. I was hungry. I was sleepy. I don't know. Are those real dwarves? I'm still hungry and sleepy right now. This time lapse, man, it keeps going. It just doesn't end. Now we're adding some more decorative elements to the edges over here. I wanted the rock faces to be a little bit crisper. I didn't like how the terrain looked. And what I might actually do is I might actually turn the rock to grass, probably tall grass. Just bring some more life to the space. Ironically, perhaps, but I think it'd look a lot nicer. And we do a little bit of that, so you can see I'm quickly getting an idea of how it feels, how it looks on the inside. I wanted to bring a little bit of lighting in, so I decided to. Initially, I was going to put down just some wood paneling over here. I thought that would look quite nice, the wood juxtaposed with the marble, both in terms of texture and color and everything. But then I was like, oh, it'd be really cool actually if it was lit up. And I have no idea how this is going to look because again, I did not want the game to crash on me. That would make me, so I was just like, we're going to put this down, and next session we'll give this a little test and see how the lighting looks. And I mean, in theory, based on how it's placed and where it's placed and how much of it there is, this should look good, but it's a question mark, and we'll find out together. So there is still work to do with the memorial. There's still a lot of editing to do. But that's how it always is. As much as I say, "Oh, I'm going to finish this today," I know it can be frustrating, folks. But it's important to step away. But I mean, this is feeling pretty cool. I almost start doing a whole other thing before I realize that I'm never going to finish this if I keep doing this. I want to build a mosaic for the ceiling using these block pieces. I think it could be pretty cool to have a mosaic there, but. running out of time is, I guess, what I was realizing. It's like, okay, this is going to take forever. I can't even select the pieces without selecting half of the zoo. So I was like, all right, let's undo this. If I do that, I'll tackle it at a later time. It's getting time to call it a time lapse, because otherwise this episode is not going to release today, and I don't want to do that. But last couple things to do, I wanted to put the names down, which leads to the very unfortunate revelation that how do I put this delicately? It doesn't work. The lettering is just... It's not even just the typeface choices. It's like, it's got the jaggedy edges, the aliasing and everything. It's just... I'll more on that later, though. More on that after the time lapse. I'll talk about that for a little bit. But yeah, last thing I want to do over here was, again, like I was saying, bring some life to the area. You know, spruce it up, if you will. I don't think any of these trees are spruces. But yeah, a little bit of greenery, and actually, even here, I was like, all right, let's get artsy. This is an art piece. So we have, you know, from young to old, and that's the time lapse. All right, folks, that's where we're going to have to call it today. That was an insanely long time lapse, and I feel like this episode might end up a little shorter than an hour, but I have to call it here because otherwise I'm not going to be able to upload it on time. I mean, I'm still cutting it really close right now, and I'd hate to I'd hate to come in late. I never like I like staying as consistent as possible, but so I think we're gonna have to call it right now. I hope this episode's long enough, and I hope y'all don't mind if it is a little bit shorter, but there it is. I mean, there's still work to do, as I'm sure I mentioned during the time lapse, but I'm really pleased with how all these parts have come together to tell a bit of a story, I guess, to tell a bit of a tale. From a colors perspective, I really like how the trees work together. I really like the, you know, again, the centerpiece. I think. I mean, I'm really happy with this, actually. Even the typography, it's, you know, not perfect, but I am happy with the overall look and feel of it. I think, in fact, I might need to, for my own sanity, I might have this wrong, but I do believe just needs to be nudged over ever so slightly. There we go. There we go. That feels better. That feels better. And I mean, oh god, is this not centered? This better be centered. I'm going through like 1,000 different emotions of fatigue right now. This was quite the exercise, and I'm pretty happy with how the typography has turned out. But I'm never gonna stop looking at this and wanting to adjust it. As you can kind of tell right now. Sorry, it's just really gonna bother. This R, I wasn't satisfied with this R during the time lapse. I'm not satisfied with it after the time lapse either. Come on. Come on. Give me that piece. Give me that piece, game. Come on. Nope. Come on. Alright. We got this. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh. Alright. Sorry. We should have done this in the time lapse, but I didn't think it was going to bother me this much, but now that I'm looking around. Okay, that's better. That's better. Yeah, okay, so, there's still work to do. Is this not... This is centered, right? I'm just seeing things, right, because of this? This thing's in the way? It feels... you know what? Might actually not be centered. Okay. It's, or maybe it is, and then the rock's throwing me off. I can't. You know what, folks? It's fine for now as it is. I'm gonna have to definitely spend some more time on it. I think what we're probably gonna do is that next session we're going to finish this off. Again, there aren't any names on the inside, which is kind of a crucial part of this. What I was thinking was each of these columns could have like we could write names on the columns. Unfortunately, as you saw me experimenting, I believe, with the name editable signs, they're hideous. The writing is wow. So I'm wondering, I need to figure out what I want to do what I want to do for that, how I want to do the names, and maybe we actually write the names out. So hopefully none of our animals with really long names ever pass away. Some of our snow leopards have extremely long names. But that might be the approach we take to. Both of you. Come on. Come on. There we go. That's better. That might be the approach we take to putting the names on the inside, I think. I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, I always look to your opinions to get a sense of what y'all think. I'm pretty happy with the overall look of it. I'm glad we went with the classical style approach. What I might want to do, another thing I might want to do is I might want to add some pieces across the top over here that kind of cover up the weird transition. That might, I think, do a good bit for us. I do something like this, or maybe if there's something, yeah, kind of like this, maybe. Sure, there's something I could do. Yeah, that might just help make the transition a bit nicer. But it's obviously a lot of work to go around a full circle with this kind of thing. So I'm going to leave that for later. Need to make some small adjustments. Need to make maybe some small adjustments, maybe some massive adjustments. Maybe I want to redo this whole thing. I don't think so. But this is what I'm going to call it a session, folks. So again, next session we're probably going to we're hopefully going to cap this off, and then we're going to work on the snow leopards enclosure a little bit more. Now, I will say what I might do is I might start recording the next session over the weekend. Normally what I do is I start recording on Monday. That way I have all your comments and stuff. What I might do this time is start recording over the weekend piecemeal so that I can get more done. Maybe. Depends. Right now, I'm just feeling exhausted. So I'm going to call it a night, folks. And I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm really happy with how our memorial looks. I hope you are as well. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below. Oh wow, you can really tell I'm kind of out of it. that was fun. That was a lot of fun though. It was fun pushing the building blocks to their limits. But of course we're going to continue to push them further and further each subsequent session. Folks, if you had fun, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. If you have any feedback, as always, let me know. And also, as always, massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting this channel on a monthly basis. You keep us alive and running smoothly, and your support of this series allows me to do things like spend countless hours on what might end up being a less than hour-long video. The same goes to each and every one of you that watches. Honestly, I cannot express this enough. I am so very grateful that so many of you are joining me day in, day out, following along for this epic journey, this epic story that we've been crafting. So a massive thanks to all of y'all for watching as well. From the bottom of my heart, wow, words are not coming out of my mouth. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all ever so much. And until next time, cheers.